Hi everyone, welcome back to Chop's Garage. Pete is back in the house again, yet again. He's here every day at the moment, isn't it? I'm trying to do, you know those programs where they say look after the elderly people in your community? Oh, that's what I'm trying to do. We were worried he was getting all lonely sitting home doing nothing. He's refitted the window and the regulator to the Mini. That's all working fine. The only problem we've got now is the roof goes back to there, but doesn't go all the way back. Now it was fully going back before, when it was first part X before the cable snapped on it. So I wonder if there's a reset or we've got the position wrong somewhere. We'll have to fiddle around with that. He's putting the bumper back on the i20. Now those of you that are easily offended, you might want to look away right now. I'm giving you due warning. You've had due warning. This is pretty ugly. Bosh. There is the rattle can bumper, and I know, Royston, you're already going to kick my butt for not setting up my compressor and spraying it with that. I cheaped out. I went down from Marlowe's and got direct gloss, which means they put the lacquer in with the paint, and I know for a fact that you never get a good finish on that for some reason. Yesterday I did it outside when it was too hot, so I've got gloss on it, but I've got a terrible finish, and also obviously it's nowhere near the paint. But then this is 10 shades of red anyway, isn't it? So I don't know what we'll do. Well, we're just going to stick it back on for the moment, move it outside. I might try and flat it back a bit. I might leave it as it is and sell the car cheap. I might go down and get Marlowe's to match the paint. I'm not sure. So yeah, Petey's underneath doing that. He stone chipped the wheels, and then I tidied up the wheel trim, so they're all going back on now. The Honda, in the process of doing the valet on it, it's coming up really nice. Really nice. I'm always assuming that everybody watches this channel has watched previous videos, so they know what the hell I'm on about. This is a main dealer Part X Honda 1.4 petrol. Just had it down the garage. Advisory free MOT and a service. Just cleaning up this suede interior. It's coming up nicely. Coming nicely. And they took that tow bar off and tidied it all up underneath. So we haven't got that going on. I'm sorting the boot out at the moment. I need to get all these fabrics cleaned up. Right, the lady that bought the Citroen C1 in the last video, who actually is the sister of a subscriber, and that subscriber's parents bought a red Ford Ka Cat N off me when I was down at Alfa Ragazzi back in the day. So big hi to you. He sent along his sister to look at the cars I had. She tried the C1 yesterday and bought the C1, but when she went home, she spoke to her brother who said, well, did you try the VW up? Did you take it for a spin? She said no. So she messaged me and said, is it all right if I come and try the up instead? And I was like, fine, no problem at all. She came and took the VW up out, and when she got out of the up and then got back into the Citroen C1, I'm pointing out there, the up's now gone. She took it away straight away. But when she hopped out of the up and then into the Citroen, she found the gearbox like, you know, a wooden spoon in porridge, which to be fair it is. Obviously the VW is higher quality. These, you know, the gear levers do float about a bit within the box. I don't think they're synchroed first either, are they? Mind you, I don't suppose the synchro's in the first on the VW up either. But great, she took it for another quick spin, and then that decided her mind, put her mind at rest that the VW up was the right car for her. So she's had that, and the C1's obviously now back up for sale, and the up has gone. So nice again, and the up came from a subscriber, didn't it? So lots of nice sort of, I was going to say intermingled subscriber action then, but I'm not sure that's the appropriate way to word it, is it? Anyway, what else is going on? We've got obviously somebody cutting wood in the background. Oh, we took a Part X in on the up, that's what we did. And this has to be the worst Part X I have ever taken in. The nice change with this one is the owner, our subscriber's sister, absolutely 100% honest about the car. Totally honest about it. I don't suppose she had a massive amount of choice because it is pretty badly beaten up. So we've got a Ford Ka 1.2 petrol. This is back to the old shops. It's the kind of thing you used to buy from auction before, isn't it? 2010. I think it's done 113,000 miles on it. I think it was a previous Cat N as well, from what she told me. We've got bad paint all the way up the side here. All like really badly blistered. And obviously around this side, we've got massively dinged inside here. I mean, I say massively, I guess if you get like an inflator pack behind it, it might pop that out a little bit. All scuffed up down the sides here. It's MOT'd. It's MOT till September, I think, if I'm correct. The problem with it is, other than the bodywork, is that she had a gearbox problem with it, which is, you know, renowned on these, on the Fiat 500 1.2s and the Ford Ka 1.2s. She had a gearbox problem with it, so they swapped the gearbox out. But the garage that did the gearbox for her, she quoted her £600 to put the gearbox in, and another garage quoted her 300. So she went back to the original garage and said, "Why are you £300 more?" And I went, "Oh, we can probably do it for 300, which obviously doesn't instill much faith. She said, "Well, I'd rather take it back to the other garage actually," but they'd already started taking it apart, so she had no decision but to have a go with them. Turns out, didn't put a new clutch in. Didn't put a new clutch or a release bearing, and now the clutch and release bearing's gone, and well, she's just had enough. She's had enough of it, and she wanted to get a new car. Never ever put a gearbox in a car without doing the clutch and clutch release bearing, unless it's literally like under 10. You always put the clutch and clutch release bearing on this. It would have added maybe another retail price is £100 in parts to the job. It's not her fault. They didn't advise her. She's not, you know, she's obviously not, you know, she doesn't know that kind of thing. So yeah, so, you know, quite understandably she had enough of it and decided to part exchange it, and I've locked myself out of it. We've got one key for it, that's only the manual key. I'm not quite sure why we locked it, to be honest, why I can't unlock it. Inside, the seats need a really good deep clean. Obviously that is the least of your worries a bit, really. I have to admit, the noise that it's making is a bit strange. It sounds like a release bearing, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been in one of these for a while, but it's all very familiar. 116,000 miles. The engine is... Oh. Turn off. Turn off. The engine itself sounds alright, but... Do you know what? I'm not sure that's the clutch release bearing. I'm not sure that's the clutch release bearing. I think the box they've put in has gone bad. That's not a release bearing. That's not a release bearing. That's... Gosh, that sounds like something's flapping around inside there. I think the box they put in has gone bad. Possibly, I might be completely wrong, but it doesn't sound like any release bearing I've ever heard. And the clutch itself is fine. She said, funny enough, she said to me, "Oh, the clutch, sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's bad." And I said, "Well, that's funny, because clutches don't normally do that. Either they're good or they're bad. And this clutch is actually fine." So, something's come awry within the box, I think. But the box is actually changing okay. It's a really strange one, isn't it? Should we give it to the legend Pete and see what he thinks it is? Let's take it around the block a second. I didn't ask her what the clutch is actually doing. I think she said she couldn't get gears or something. Nah. I'm not sure what that is. 2 secs. I think we'll have to pop the bonnet. Can you hear something? I've never heard that noise before in a car. I've bought a lot of dingers in my time, and this... I've never heard this noise before in my life. There's got to be something in the box. Yeah, I think they put a bad box in. It's not lasted very long. Pete, you'll have to have a go in this, because I've never heard a noise like it in my life. I don't have any idea what it is at all. She said the clutch was bad, but it changes gear fine and it's not slipping at all. That sounds like the aircon's bad. Go on then, Peter, go for a test drive. He's just momentarily forgotten how to drive a car. We'll get there in the end. Oh, you can hear that. That sounds almost like a drive shaft, but like a really bad drive shaft. I wonder if it's the diff. I wonder if the diff bearings have gone on it. Well, he's decided to test drive it on the road, which is lucky that it's insured and it's still taxed. I didn't tell him, I thought he'd just go for a run around the block. He's on his danger ride, then I might as well finish cleaning the boot out and report back when he decides to turn back up again. What's that, Petey?
It's the gearbox saying help.
It is the gearbox, isn't it?
Oh, God.
I don't think it's the clutch at all, it's the gearbox, isn't it? So whichever gearbox, they put a gearbox in it, they had next to no life left in it by the sounds of it. I don't know how long she's been driving it since they fitted a gearbox, but... On these, by the way, guys, you don't just buy a used gearbox. There's a company called the Punto Man, isn't it? I think it's called. He does refurbs on 1.2 gearboxes, does a full rebuild on them, and they're only £100 more than buying a cheapy second-hand one. And they come warranted and everything. So he loves cars with problems. Nothing makes that boy happier than a car with a big problem. You'll see how happy he is when he comes back to tell me it's totally screwed.
It's like so noisy, you just don't, well.
Is it not any good? Do you know how much money I gave it for that?
I hope you didn't get more.
I told you. I'll quick one, just save everybody lots of time, because I know I disappoint some people when they message and say how much and then don't realise it's out of budget. This is going to go up for $5,995. Auto Trader says 5,795. Now I'm going above Auto Trader, which I know is different for me, but I've just double checked. This is a one owner from new car. No one else has ever owned this car. This person had this car from new, and they've kept every single receipt. There's ones in there for wiper blades, for everything they've ever done. It's got an absolutely full service history. We've just done an advisory free MOT on it and serviced it. So I think, and overall it's in fantastic condition. There's a little bit of corrosion on a couple of the alloys, but overall it's in fantastic condition. So I think this is a case where I actually think that I'm right in going a little bit over the average, because bear in mind with Auto Trader, that is the same for a car, whether it's had 3 owners, 4 owners, it's got part service history, where it's dinged up, that kind of thing, whether it's got 6 months MOT on it, not 12 months MOT on it, whether it's been serviced beforehand or not. So yeah, I think I deserve to have a bit of a premium on it. So Citroen C1's just sold. Lady came along, she'd booked with me last night to come and view it today, came bang on time, took it for a test drive, loved it. Paid for it, didn't question. Just going to pick it up in a couple of days' time. So that's probably most of my small cars gone now. Like I say, the Civic's only just gone up, so we haven't any interest in that yet. Luckily, we've picked up another little small car, though. I said it was coming in potentially, didn't I? Little VW up. And I'm obsessed with VW up. Been getting phone calls all day on that VW up since it's sold. Little Polo, 1.2 diesel. It's in really good nick, to be honest. The bodywork, I'd say, is pretty darn fantastic all the way around. There's only one thing that lets it down a little bit, and it's nothing major. It's just the top of the boot lid here. This stuff's been loaded in. I don't know how much that'll machine polish out. Might do, might not. We've got a little crack down there. But other than that, this is a really tidy little motor. Really tidy little motor. Alloys are in good nick. Rubber on the front's coming close to need doing. Oh no, actually no. No, actually there's quite a bit on the wear indicator there. That'll probably be right. I'll probably pass MOT that. It's got a good few thousand more miles in it. 1,000 more miles in it. What am I talking about? The tyres are all right. Headlights are nice and clear. Nothing on the corners of the bumper at the front here. It's a match, so it's nice spec as well. It's, did I say already, 1.2 3-cylinder diesel? These do crazy MPG, don't they? I think they'll do like 70 odd on a run, won't they? It might even be more than that. I think some of them do 90, don't they? I think the average on it is in 60s. It's crazy, crazy. The seats need a bit of a wet clean, nothing major. That one's in really good nick. Front ones are fine. Carpet needs a bit of a wet clean down there. It's actually a super, super clean little car. We've got CD radio. Has this got Bluetooth on it? I want to say it has, I can't remember. Air conditioning, auxiliary input. I don't know if it's got Bluetooth. Can't see anything on here. Turn it on in a minute. Really good history on it as well. It's almost, I don't want to, it's got someone's name on it. Almost full service history. It's had a cam belt in 2018. It's on 95,000 miles now. I think the cam belts on these are 10 years and 120,000 miles or something. I know they're quite big gaps on these, so that's almost like someone's done it early on that one. So I don't think we need to worry about that. like I say, almost a full service history. It's due one now. Get rid of all this smellies up here. The condition inside is really, really good. These are worth good money as well, aren't they? I think Auto Trader puts this at about 4.7. And like I say, was it 95,000 miles? I think I already said that, didn't I? Yeah, should be a good little car. Found a few little problems with it. Nothing too major. We've got, let me get the keys for a second. You've got 3 remotes, which is nice. Driven it back, good 20-25 minutes. Same as the other ones I've driven. It's a little bit gutless below the turbo. As soon as the turbo kicks in and you keep it on the boil, it actually feels quite nippy. Is the steering lock on? Hold on a second. Yeah, steering lock was on. Saying it's due a service, but we knew that already. Starts nicely. I've started it from cold and warm. No concerns on that front at all. Clutch is nice, no worries on that. Nice smooth idle. No warning lights other than the door open, handbrake on. 97,000 miles, sorry, not 95, 97,000 miles. The problems you might be able to just hear. One of the problems you might be able to just hear it. Can they click, 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 click in? Got more paperwork in there as well. Handbooks, auxiliary and cable there, TMS sensor. Yeah, so you can hear a click, click, clicking there down the dashboard. Now, at first I thought it's because our blower only works on number 4, which means we need to put a resistor in it. Hopefully that isn't a dash out job. I don't think it is on these, if I remember rightly. So yeah, I thought it was that initially, and then I went to the engine bay. Try and do this one-handed for you. Went to the engine bay, and I could hear it louder in here. Clean engine bay. Nice colour coolant. Yeah, and I noticed it was actually this. So that is a little solenoid for all the vacuum pipes there. Looks like it should be a fairly easy thing to swap out. Now the other thing I noticed, and it was only while I was trying to hunt down that, was, let me get this off. Oh. Got a bit of a leaky injector there. Chris popped by and had a look and says he thinks it just needs reseating actually. So if that's all it needs, that'll be a bit of a result. But yeah, worst case scenario, we put an injector in it. I don't think that's going to be the end of the world. It's a really tidy little car. I drove it. I didn't, like I say, I didn't find any knocks and bangs on the suspension. Its steering was nice. It's been a really well looked lady owner that's had it. It's been a really well looked after car. I don't know how many owners it's had yet. I've not had the V5 yet. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with this one. Like I say, they are quite a lot of money, aren't they? VWs do hold their money well. So yeah, 4.6 seems a lot, but that's what Auto Trader says. 2012. I guess it's 2012 Polo. Actually, yeah, thinking about 2012 petrol Polo would still be around 5, wouldn't it? With more like, say, 60, something like that on it. So I guess the price isn't that crazy. So if someone needs something that's a stupidly economical, you want to be doing distance when you've been a diesel. You don't want to do short runs in it. If you've got quite a commute to work and you just want to keep your costs right down, in something that's going to still feel okay on the motorways, this will feel better on a motorway than, or a dual carriageway than some of the smaller lighter stuff. It's probably ideal little motor, isn't it? So we're going to get that injector done, get that little solenoid done, put a new MOT on it. I don't think the MOT is long enough to sell as it is, if I remember rightly. Might be, I don't know, I can't remember how long it is. If it's less than sort of 7-8 months, we'll probably do it. I don't think it needs anything bodywork wise. I think that's like best just give that a polish on the back there, buff that out. I don't really want to go painting it. Just buff it out. Maybe actually, tell you what the answer is, get one of those nice little rubber boot lip things. If it doesn't polish out, put one of the rubber boot lip things on there, and then you'll just have a few little bits to touch in there, and that'll tidy it right up. Again, we're so short on stock, we want to put it up for sale as quickly as possible, put the keenest price we can on it without putting us too much money into it. So yeah, really in the need of small cars now. What have we got left small cars wise? We've got the other C1 down getting the work done on it, and then we've got the C1. So we've got 2 C1s, but we haven't got any other cars other than that, because everything else is sold now, isn't it? So we've got the 2 C1s and we've got the Polo now. The Mini, we've got the roof working since we put the window in, so that's fine. yeah, small cars is what I need badly, guys. Badly need small cars. Anything I can sort of retail under 5. That's a small CC petrol. Ideally, we want 5 doors. 3 doors aren't as popular as 5 doors for obvious reasons. Just gives people a bit more flexibility. We might have to go on the old BCA again, guys. Dun dun dun. Go down the auctions route, or start dealing with the nightmare that is Facebook Marketplace, where you send out 100 messages and get a reply from 2 people that will only meet you in a 10-minute window at some ridiculous time of day. The i20's just sold to a gentleman who messaged me, and he actually had bought the Chevy Spark online somehow on my website. He says he'd made a payment for it and was coming to pick it up. I said, well, I'm not sure how you've managed to do that, but the Chevy's nowhere near ready, I'm afraid. So I can't sell you that, but I do have something around a similar sort of price. And it was the i20, and he wanted a bigger car anyway because he had a Fiat 500 he wasn't very happy with. Now, interesting thing is, pulled up in the Fiat 500. It's a bit of a state, to be honest, the Fiat 500. It's got faded decals on it, but it's a 2010, 118,000 miles, 1.2 petrol. It's got about 5 months MOT left on it, 4 months MOT left on it. But it had an engine management light on it. I said, what's the engine management light for? He said, oh, it's just the lambda sensor, he said. I had the cam belt done, and the lambda sensor's been on ever afterwards. The guy told me it was a lambda sensor. So that's all it is. So, okay, no problem at all. Test drove it round the block. Drove okay. Yeah, okay. Just like Fiat 500 does. They just seem to deteriorate quite quickly, Fiat 500s, when they get older, don't they? Not like Hyundais. And I thought, well, I've been burnt that many times locally recently, haven't I, with part exchange. I thought I'm not going to risk it. I didn't want to get out the top down and wait sort of ages for it to load up, to be honest, which would have given me more in depth. I thought I'd try the little C reader again that Launch sent me. This is the little one that actually tells you what the code is rather than just give you a number. These basic ones just normally give you a number, don't they? So I quickly plugged it in, and because obviously it gave me the reading straight away, which meant I didn't have to, because I was kind of sneakily doing it, to be honest, while he drove the i20 round the block to see how he got on with it. He just seemed too keen to do the part exchange. When I plugged it in, it actually came back as crank position sensor. Now, any of you that watch my channel for a long time will actually know, because he said he literally just had the cam belt done. I looked inside the engine bay, the sticker's off for where the cam belt's done. I pulled the cover back a bit, I could see it was a new cam belt on there. And any of you that have watched my channel for a long time know that every time I've done a cam belt on a Fiat 500, that light has come on, and you cannot clear it without doing a relearn, which is where you rev it up to like 5,000 RPM each time. There's obviously a chance that the position sensor's been done badly, he's damaged it, or that it's slightly out of time, I guess, is another thing. Although those Fiat 500s are very forgiving on the timing. I've known them be a tooth out and still be absolutely fine. But yes, I plugged it in and the code came back, and the reader not only told me the code, but obviously told me it was crank position sensor. So it needs a relearn. It needs one of those relearns. So I told him that, and he was quite pleased about it. I think he'd just taken the chap on his word that it was the lambda sensor, because it was the guy that fitted the cam belt that told him it was the lambda sensor code, not to worry about it, put some cleaner through it and drive the car more. But I think it needs that relearn. So anyway, I haven't given a lot of money for it. I've got straight onto my chap that buys the sort of more like, to be honest, the scrap end of cars, and got him to kind of underwrite it in trading. I don't want to get involved in it at all. I don't think there's any money to be made out of it without a lot of faffing. And yeah, we've done a deal, and deposit is down on the i20 now. He came shortly after, and a subscriber popped by looking for something, and he has decided he wants the Mazda 2 as soon as it's ready, the green Mazda 2. So that's got to go down, have the paint done, get the MOT done on it. We've got to find out what that knock on the suspension was. This is the one that came from BCA, so I don't think there'll be a lot of profit in this car, because I bought a couple of cars off BCA to prove to you the prices were still mental, didn't I? This is sold as well. I forgot to say that. The Cactus is sold. So I have done a trade deal on the Cactus. I won't lie, I've done a trade deal on the Cactus because it scares the living daylights out of me. I won't lie. You've all been in the comments and absolutely scared the living daylights out of me on the gearbox on it. Even though warranty wise would do a platinum cover on it, which covers everything on the vehicle, you scared me too much. So I looked at it, I looked at the margin available selling it. I had a decent offer trade, so I've chickened out once again. So get in the comments and berate me, I've chickened out. But as you can see, this month I'm so flat out busy anyway, it's not really like I'm losing out massively by trading, putting out trade numbers rather than retailing it. Hopefully that will go super quickly as soon as it's up as well. But I've got to hop on the computer and get it listed now, haven't I? Little Alto off to do its duties as his car going to his first job, zookeeper at Dartmoor Zoo. That's a cool job, isn't it? It's going to have a lot of fun doing that. Right, that's it. Enough playing with cars. The trade buyer's just taken the cactus away. Nice to meet you, buddy. I have had an exciting telephone conversation about a 1983 911 languishing somewhere, which is very tempting. We need to get rid of a few more toys before I can get too serious about that. But I'll update you if that goes anywhere, because that is proper old school whale tail 911 is one of my ultimates. That's what I really wanted more than the modern one. Anyway, enough chat, better go home. Thanks as always for watching, massively appreciated. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Just a quick reminder, we've still got the taxi raffle on, by the way. I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Launch and Top Don, who've just sent me this lot here as well. We've been chatting about, we've got a jump pack here as well. I was chatting to them about the raffles we do for the charities and so forth. Normally they offer to pay money, obviously, to, as you guys know, to have a sponsored ad in a video. But what we decided to do, instead of me taking any money, is for them to send me more machines, more diagnostic machines, so we can do more raffles going forwards with lots of extra prizes, which is absolutely brilliant. So ace to work with companies that are on board like that. So we've got a couple more Launch diagnostics machines there. Got a couple of Top Don battery testers. We've got another Top Don jump pack here. Absolutely brilliant. Massive thanks to those. I'll put a link in a description down below for the current raffle that's going on, where you obviously can win the taxi, or you've got the choice of winning, I forget what it was, I think it was this bundle here of technical equipment. It is all detailed in the actual raffle itself. Massive thanks to everyone that's been supporting that. It's going really well. It's looking like we're going to be able to donate a really good amount of money to the Grand Appeal charity, which someone commented in the comments, they do loads more than just give the housing to help people. They do lots of other things to help people with terminally ill children. So yeah, massive thanks again to the sponsors. Massive thanks to all of you that are entering. We'll put a link in the description down below.